actually just spilled coffee all over myself. What's up guys? Welcome back. How's it going? Hope y'all are doing super awesome. I decided that instead of doing a weekly love reading that I was kind of trying for a little bit, that we would just do one big monthly one. Let's do a pick a card, one of 3 piles, and you can kind of gauge what your energy is going to be in the love and relationship department for the upcoming month. Before we get started, I want to talk about Venus because she's doing some super cool things throughout the month of March. So as she finishes out her transit in Aries, which she's currently in, she's going to make her way into Taurus. Now, of course, Venus is the ruler of Taurus, so she loves to be in this position. Not only is she going to be entering her home space, but she's going to collide with Uranus, which is going to give a little extra added emphasis to your relationship department. It could be something, kind of cool that happens, or some kind of change that you're going through with your significant other. It's probably going to be a positive change, most likely. However, Uranus can be really unpredictable. But if you're single, I highly suggest putting yourself out there and just going out there to specifically make random collisions just to kind of see what happens. As Venus continues through Taurus, she's going to make really harmonious aspects to Pluto, Jupiter, and Mars, which are all in Capricorn this month. So we have this emphasis and an ease. These angles are very easy flowing, and she's going to be aspecting Neptune in a really beautiful way as well. So there's a lot of benefit to the Venetian energy right now. There's a lot of opportunity that can be really captured. And I know later on we'll be making our way into a Venus retrograde, but for now, let's enjoy the blessings that Venus has. She is one of our most benefic or our most beneficial planets, so it's totally worth just leaning into what she wishes to give to us. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into these cards. Okay, you guys, let's go ahead and dip right into this. We have piles 1, 2, and 3. All right, we have crystals, which I was feeling inspired to pull today. We have a Chrysocolla, a Carnelian stone, and a Polychrome Jasper. Go ahead, pause the video, feel your way through this. Which one do you feel inspired to choose? And if you do have a question, you can always ask because you just might get an answer. Okay, let's go ahead, pause the video, take a second, and we'll get into it. Okay, pile number 1, you guys picked the Chrysocolla, which of course is one of my favorite stones. Well, they're all my favorite. I feel like I say that every single time. Let's go ahead and just pull out all the cards so we can see all of them all at once, and then we'll go ahead and get into the meanings here. So we have the Ace of Wands, the Knight of Wands, Nine of Swords, Knight of Swords, and the Page of Swords. Wow, lots of sword cards coming out for you guys, but I think in a good way, honestly. So let's see what else we have. We have Answer the Call. What is your soul calling you to do? Appreciation. Confidence is key to your success, a new moon in Leo. And a Saturn return connected with age. And then we have a couple of the sexual tarots. 6 of Swords, the Fool, and the Strength card. Beautiful. Well, let's go ahead and just begin with the tarot cards that came out. Ace of Wands and Knight of Wands. I think you guys are actually very magnetic right now, honestly. So if you're single in a relationship, you're going to be drawing in this romantic energy. There's going to be satellite energies, people around, people in the workplace, maybe a couple of clients, maybe there's going to be people at the coffee shop that just kind of look at you. And I'm seeing an energy of kind of them being far away or observing you. But I don't know that you realize it. You may have had some interesting things happening in your love life recently, and you may be feeling a little, insecure, or feeling a little bit like maybe love is not for me, or maybe this just really isn't the right path, or maybe I do need to be on my own for a little while. That's okay. But I really think that if you're feeling a little bit on the stressed out side or the anxious side, or feeling like really all in your head about stuff, I just want you to go out into a public space and just kind of see the kind of energy that you attract, because it's very likely that people are looking at you. And I say that in kind of a weird way, you know, that sounds kind of creepy, you know, but, you know, sometimes it's just that acknowledgement that like, oh, we are attractive, or oh, people are kind of interested in what I have to say, or oh, like, you know, sometimes we just have to get out of our own way, because these people, they don't see your Nine of Swords. They don't see what you are, you know, hiding from. They don't know, they don't get it. They're not, you know, in that space. So when they look at you, I think what they see is someone who's very attractive. I think they see someone who is really charismatic with the Ace of Wands. And there's a disconnect between what people who are looking at you see and what you see. Like when you look in the mirror, what do you see in yourself is totally different than what these other people see. Now, these may or may not be romantic options for you. But I think in a lot of ways, this positive energy, this kind of outside looking in energy can help you to put your Nine Swords at ease, because we know that the Nine of Swords can feel really harsh sometimes. We know that it can feel like life is against us, the universe doesn't want us to have love, and you know, we could go on and on and on. But really, it's not the case. Swords are products of our own mind. And now is a really, really, really good time to start putting any negative thoughts in check and start being like, why am I even thinking this? Why do I even feel this? Why is this even coming up in my own mental dialogue? Because you don't have to give these swords power. These people don't see your swords. They don't see those insecurities. They don't see those fears. They see a beautiful, attractive, charismatic individual. Okay? And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you to really shift how you see yourself. And therefore, you can then invite better relations into your life. Because when you start seeing yourself as, you know, we always talk about self-worth, you know, and deserving things, but it's also just like, you know, feeling attractive or feeling beautiful, feeling like that Venus goddess-like kind of thing. I really do think that Venus is going to be a highlight this month, which she's not always, you know, every month the energy is always shifting and changing. So, you know, every once in a while, certain planets will come in and out of spotlight. Venus is in spotlight this month. She's at home, she's in her power, she's doing really good things, she's aspecting our really, really big planets, and there's going to be a lot of evolution this month. And the Nine of Swords probably is going to be the thing where these swords just start disappearing, because you're all of a sudden going to realize that all these fears you had are simply not real. I highly recommend striking up conversations with people, small talk, seeing how people are doing, talking to someone in the line. It doesn't even matter if it's like a sexual thing or not, right? It's not specifically to get a date, but rather it's probably just to lighten up. I'm getting this Page of Swords who's always I always call it my Gemini energy, which we all can tap into at any moment, or an air-like energy, which is extremely low density, right? Nine of Swords is real dense, it's real heavy. Complete opposite with the Page of Swords, who is more etheric, more angelic, more, you know, more free, more liberated. This is a kind of imprisoned energy, but on both sides of this, bookending both of this, we have the power of the Ace of Wands, which really is an indication that like our insides are manifesting our outsides. So you have to pay attention to that, because your power and your magic right now is really, really strong. So let's keep it light as much as possible. If you are not really like the small talk kind of person, I still recommend doing it, because for whatever reason, it seems to be the right density for you this month to help you kind of get out of this Nine of Swords kind of funk, okay? But if you're single and you're wanting to be, you know, in a relationship, you have people looking. You really do. You have people observing you. You have people who are gonna, you know, check you out when you walk down the street. So you might as well lean into it. I think there's going to be a lot of power in, you know, just kind of sensing other people's attraction to you. And it may even help those who are in relationships, right? Like, oh, you're getting positive feedback from a lot of like random strangers on the street, and you can go home and be like, wow, I'm feeling super sexy tonight. Let's go have a good time, you know? So it can come in a lot of ways, and it can be really beneficial beneficial. So we have this answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? 100%, I guarantee your soul does not want you to be in this Nine of Swords. It does not want you to be in this place of stress, in this place of anxiety or sadness or whatever. Venus comes in contact with Uranus, and she is going to be like, hey, let's shake this up. There could be an element of boredom, because a lot of times the Nine of Swords can carry out for longer periods of time, and it can get super boring. Like if you are not, if you've been doing it for a while, it starts to get a little bit played out. So your soul is asking you to tap into this Ace of Wands and Page of Swords lightness, this power, this like invigorated zest for life, because why not? Why not, right? It's asking you to open your eyes. It's asking you to look around. See, he's looking at you, she's looking at you, and then this one is just looking straight ahead, like totally oblivious to what's going on around. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to how people interact with you. And it might not be at the beginning of March. It might be as we move forward, as Mars trines with Venus and Jupiter trines with Venus as we get in later through the month. But still, like, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to just like wake up and snap out of it. All right. And 15, number 15, which is a 1 + 5, which is a 6, which is a Venus ruled number. Appreciation. Appreciate that. We always know, we always say that appreciation and gratitude are the vehicle by which you invite more abundance into your life, and it's absolutely true. Start expressing your appreciation for things. Appreciate it when people give you a little bit of attention, or when they buy you a cup of coffee, or hold the door open for you, or tell you your hair looks nice today, right? Like, appreciate it. Appreciate the attention, appreciate the gravity of what's really going on, because what's happening is your energy is shifting, your energy is evolving, and it's changing, and it's not an accident that this stuff is happening at this particular moment in time. Now, confidence is your key to success. It is so hard for a Nine of Swords energy to have confidence, because it's so wrapped up in all the reasons why not, all the reasons why it can't, or all the reasons why it shouldn't. And that's completely bunk, okay? Swords are merely thoughts, and thoughts are not always real. So you have to know what's real and what's not, and what it is that's just your perspective or your perception of something versus what is actually real. Because these people, I think, whoever these satellite energies are that are giving you attention, whether they're complete strangers that you just bump into, or if they're people like that you see on a daily basis, they are going to see a more realistic picture of you at this time, and you can use that to help you break out of your Nine of Swords. So we have this Saturn return, which is it's actually really a card of wisdom more than anything. The Saturn return breaks apart our patterning, and we are familiar with that energy because of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that recently just happened. And when this patterning breaks and we start to, open ourselves up and free ourselves a little bit, we then can reestablish these new patterns. Page of Swords wants new patterns that are full of love, that are full of enthusiasm, that are full of passion for life, with or without a significant other, right? It has nothing to do with having someone else. It's about really just enjoying your experience here and allowing the fluidity of life to just be fluid. There's no desire to really try to control things. Normally, when we have a Saturn return energy, it does have that, control versus lack of control, surrender versus control. And, it comes back home, it comes back to its original position, and everything that you thought for the past 30 years suddenly becomes something different, and you have to just envelop and allow the change to occur organically. Now let's get into some of these sexual energy cards, because it is a love reading after all. Now, I look at this Fool energy, and I don't know that you guys are necessarily wanting like sex per se. You might not necessarily be in that right headspace. And I know that you're not just going to want to just do it with just anybody. You know, this is not a story of someone who just goes out there and picks up some random person and goes and has a one-night stand. That's not really the vibe that's coming out here. But you are on a new, you know, you've kind of opened up a new blank slate for yourself. You've enveloped the idea that, okay, maybe there is something more or something better for me. And I even, this weird card, this strength card where she's like tackling a boar, it kind of reminds you of the animalness of us, the humanness of us, that really intense desire to connect with people that's just like coded in our DNA. There's really nothing we can do about it. We just really, really love to feel those connections. We are human and we are tethered to the humanness. And we even have the Saturn nature coming out here as well as a reminder of that. We're human, we're on Earth, and there are certain things that we just can't, you know, really escape. But now I know that you're going to be a little bit more choosy and a little bit more particular, that the person that you want to share those sexual experiences with really does have to meet certain criteria. And, you know, and I'm wondering if maybe a part of this Nine of Swords, there's a lot of this like, well, where is this person then? Where is this person that's supposed to have this criteria? But again, you're also not looking. That maybe on one hand you think you're being very open, but in reality you're not really open at all. And that's part of this Saturn return. Like let's get the real perspective, right? Let's get the closer to the truth, because we can sit there all day long and tell ourselves in our mind, I'm so open and I'm so ready for love. I'm so open and I'm so ready for love. But if you're not looking around and seeing all the opportunities, then are you really open? You know, so there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect here. And there could be a little bit of an idealization of the connection that you're wanting or the connection that you're hoping for, putting it a little bit too high up on the pedestal, and it's something that's just a little bit too far out of reach. I like the Saturn return because it pulls you down to like a moment to moment kind of vibe. It's not like so much in the future. It's not so much in that perfect world. It's realistic, it's logical, it makes sense, and it's on the right path. You have a lot of opportunities this month, step by step, with the Fool energy, to slowly open up your heart, to slowly open yourself up to like having a ton of fun with your partner, to having a ton of fun with someone new, to going out there and releasing someone who's been, you know, a connection that hasn't worked out. Now you can say, you know, I'm tired of being connected to someone that doesn't love me back. I am going to find something better. Something that I deserve, something that's real, that I can actually enjoy firsthand. There's no energy of really wanting to indulge in an unrequited love situation. That doesn't really seem to be the, you know, the path that y'all are trying to go for, which is good. So you have this Fool who is, this is the opening up. This is the Page of Swords. This is what happens when you decide to shift your perspective and start seeing what's really going on around you, okay? So I think there could be someone new if you're single, and there could be a new opportunity to renew or to reignite, especially sexually, for those people. This is the whole thing, and I was saying it's like the beast part of us or the animal part of us that just wants to like go at it. And, you know, why not? Like, especially if you are in love with someone and you do have a healthy relationship, like now maybe might be the time to just enjoy that part of the relationship, like big time, okay? All right, you guys, this was a beautiful reading. I wish you absolutely nothing but the best. I hope you have an excellent March, and I'll see you next month for the love reading for April. Thanks so much. Take care. Okay, you guys picked pile number 2 with the Carnelian stone here, which is beautiful. Deeply connected with our root chakras and our sacral chakras, the sexual aspect of everything, the very real earthed part of us. I'm going to go ahead and pull all these cards out. We've got the Moon, the Star, the Tower, beautiful, card of Awakening, and a Six of Cups. Wow, okay, so we have a lot of major arcana coming out here. We have Oops, the initiation, angel of balance. Interesting, that's coming out with the Tower. Show the world the real you. Mercury mind. The Death card. The Wheel card. And the Ace of Swords. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do this row by row here. So starting off with the Moon and the Star, you guys are in a really cool place, like especially if you are single and wanting new love, or if you're wanting to just really shake things up with your current partner, or if you're trying to, even if you're trying to figure out a connection with someone and you're like in a situationship or whatever, honestly, I would put zero pressure on it. Like absolutely none. I wouldn't try to force anything. I wouldn't try to talk things out. I wouldn't try to get closure. I wouldn't try to do any of that because you are in a magical place, whether you see it or whether you perceive it or not. The Moon and the Star are reminders of our cosmic origin, right? Where we came from, that we are just a bunch of stardust, really, right? A stardust and a consciousness decided to like inhabit us, right? So we have this absolute incredible abundance of the universe at our fingertips here. And it's just a matter of not prejudging things. It's a matter of not, you know, putting the horse before the cart and really allowing the universe to pull us in the right direction toward a healthy relationship, in the direction towards self-love that can then be shared with someone who is also, you know, fortunate enough to be experiencing self-love. The Moon and the Star both give infinite possibilities of what's possible here. So it's really, really, really important that you start asking the universe for what you want. But again, zero effort. Just start asking, just start daydreaming, just start thinking about things, you know, as though they are actually possible for you. This could be a time of major reprogramming, as we see with the Tower card. Major reprogramming, major shift in your frequential output, you know, what you're putting out in terms of your vibration and frequency. Because as you do that, you know, the world and the reality of things has to shift. So if you're single looking for someone, this is you tapping into the belief that like, okay, boom, I actually really can have this and I'm going to manifest it and I'm going to use the power of the unseen metaphysical world to do it. And the Tower is the response. You know, the Tower is not a bad thing. The Tower is the reaction to what happens when we shift internally. For those of you who are in relationships that are not happy, this could be a break in the relationship, but that's probably what your soul is really calling you. Look, it is without question that your soul is trying to expand. And if you had been resisting, then I don't know that you're going to be able to resist that expansion anymore. We see this very electric lightning coming through here. We do have Venus connecting with Uranus this month, in the next few days, really. And, you know, you can expect to see a new way of going about doing this. A new way of living life, a new way of seeing life, and the way, this is like 4 major arcana in a row, guys. This is like a no joke kind of reading, because I see the 6 of Cups as your ideal vision. This is the daydream. This is the fantasy. This is, you know, your own personal version of your own personal fairy tale, right? What is your happily ever after? What does that look like? What is that person? You know, what is the best possible really outcome here? And I see you experiencing a Tower, but feeling so zen about it and being like, thank God that Tower happened. Like so much gratitude for what is going on around you, because without that stuff, you wouldn't then be free to enjoy the reality of that which you have been manifesting. You know? And so it's a time to be really, really grateful for your current state of mind. Oh, whoops. Whoops, just kicked it even further under the table. You know, to be grateful for your current state of consciousness, to be grateful for your current state of of spiritual education, you know? There's a lot of good things coming out of where you are. Expect a tower, expect something to come crashing down or something to change suddenly. Expect something random to come out of someone's mouth and you're like, where the heck did that come from? You can expect it, but when it happens, it's not to be sad about. It's not to be, you know, like feel heavy or burdened by. It is the source of the liberation that you asked for. Okay? This is a product. This is a result of things that happen. Okay? And it's not going to be a good time for you to include other people in your dreams. And what I mean by that is, you know, like if you are in love with someone who might not quite be reciprocating right now, don't include that person who's not reciprocating in your fantasy. Like, I manifest a life with this exact person. Because that person has their own free will and they just might simply not be ready to really enjoy the blessings that could come from your connection. And that's fine. It's their journey. It's their experience here. So it's not your responsibility. It's not in your control. It's not in your power. But what you can do, and I always say this, is manifest the feelings, not the circumstances, right? Not the specific people, not the specific place, not the specific whatever, but you can manifest the feelings. And that's really what this moon and star energy is really all about. So as we move forward into the oracle cards, the initiation, the rite of passage, or crossing the threshold. And I don't know if you can really see this card imagery. Again, we have another lightning bolt. That Uranus energy coming out real strong, in addition to this full moon in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus as well. So that Uranian, electric, fragmented, revolutionary energy is 100% in the cards for you this month. And you've earned the things that you're dreaming about, right? You do deserve it. You have done the energetic work. So it's not to be feared. And as you make your way into this beautiful, colorful paradise realm, that is where self-confidence lives. That is where peace of mind exists. That is where a relationship that works, that's communicative, that's reciprocated, that is, you know, passionate and driven and goal-oriented, where two people can really work together toward a common goal, because that is the real you. Show the world the real you. That is the real you. That's the essence of the soul. The soul is love. The soul is light. It is the highest of the high. So when we kind of keep ourselves back, and it's like we wish for something, and then when something quote unquote bad happens, we freak out because we're like, oh my gosh, I was trying to manifest the good thing. I was trying to manifest the best. But then this terrible thing happened without really making the correlation that this happened so you could have this. Do you see? So this is the real you just kind of bursting out at the seams and just saying, I need to be who I really am, and I need the circumstances to support that. Angel of balance. See, the tower has to happen when imbalance is at play. So clearly there is an imbalance between who you are internally and what is going on externally in your life. So within your relationships, let's tie it back to love, since that's really why we're here. In relationships, if you have been resisting or keeping something quiet or not saying something, or you know, kind of going along with something for the sake of making someone else happy, that's all going to come to an end because it's inauthentic. It's inauthentic to what you ultimately are seeking. So the angel of balance, who operates via tower energy, which appears on the surface to be destructive, but ultimately is the greatest blessing of all, because at least it's not this long, drawn-out drudgery kind of thing. It's just like, okay, this change is happening, boom, and then it's never the same, ever. Never, ever, ever is it ever the same. And the soul is becoming so loud, and your intuition is becoming so increasing in volume that you cannot deny it anymore, and you've reached a certain breaking point. So your Six of Cups, your fantasy, your dream is literally in the cards for you, and March will bring you one step closer to attaining that. Now we have this Mercurial energy, which is really beautiful because we're finishing up the Mercury retrograde, and then it will be moving back direct again through Pisces. So this very magical time, it really is super magical. I love Piscean energy when it comes to the belief, when it comes to the magic. I think Pisces is the one season or the one archetype that really gives Scorpio a run for its money, for its magical powers, right? So as the Mercury comes through Pisces, our ability to connect with our higher self becomes so much more easy, becomes much smoother. And we don't have a lot of questions as to really what we want, because what we want is so in our face. Now let's look at these sexual energy cards, because these are, we got a couple of powerful ones here. We have the Death card. Now it's interesting because in traditional tarot, the Death card is connected with the sign of Scorpio, which is the sign of sex. I think your sexual energy is really hypercharged right now. Your sexual energy is, it's really being stirred up. And there could be someone specifically that's really causing that stirring, or it could just be the nature of Venus in Taurus really being very much in the body or very much of the body. But if you don't have that very special someone to enjoy that with, who will give you more than just sex, it will be really hard to enjoy it to the fullest. You know, sex is also a very magical experience, you know, and I don't know if you guys know this, but when you have an orgasm, it's one of the most powerful times to manifest something, because your energy, your creative energy, is so hypercharged at that time. So for those of you who are into sex magic, you definitely can do that. And the Wheel of Fortune here is saying that things are turning over in your sexual reality. Things are evolving, things are changing. And then we have this Ace of Swords, which is really experimental. And I know that you guys have a sharp edge to you, and there might be just a really strong drive, like a very masculine sex drive, very Mars-like. And if you have a special someone, I think you both can really reap the benefits of that, and it will be something that you both can share in such a profound way. And there's kind of an S&M kind of quality here, or a little bit of bondage going on, which does have that power versus surrender kind of role. And I like the Moon and the Star energy because it is very, it's very surrendery. But then the Tower kind of comes out and says, yeah, but let's start actualizing this. Let's start realizing this, really tapping into the masculine. So there could be a role between you and your partner, or you within yourself, of power and surrender, and really finding that balance between the two as well. And maybe you guys even kind of flip-flop roles a little bit. Maybe you are the more receptive sexual partner, and usually the other person, you know, kind of initiates. Well, maybe this month the roles are turned, and you start feeling like, I'm gonna make this magic happen, you know, that kind of thing. So that's always a really great energy to have. You guys may be feeling a little bit of kink as well. So, you know, this Mars and Capricorn energy, it's a real sexual placement, you know, as Mars transits Capricorn. It's real sexual, it's real powerful, and it can bring out a very raw animal kind of sex drive, which can be really, really awesome. If you don't have someone to share it with, that is okay. You can channel that kind of sexual energy in different ways. I see heightened levels of creativity coming through here, and a lot of benefit and reward because of that proper channeling of the creative energy as well. So that's really exciting. Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for everything, and I'll see you at the beginning of Aries, or the beginning of April rather, for your April love reading. Thanks so much. Take care. Okay, pile number 3, you guys picked the Polychrome Jasper, which is really lovely, with really wonderful combinations of pretty much all green and reds and pinks and yellows, and just all sorts of really wonderful things. I'm going to pull out all the cards here so we can see what we're really working with. We have 3 of Cups, 2 of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, Wow, Ace of Cups and a King of Wands. A lot of cups coming out. That's really exciting. We have a Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the Oracle. A card of Journey. The end of a tough cycle approaches. A full moon in Capricorn. Thank God, right? Mercury retrograde reinvention, which is appropriate since as we enter the beginning of March, we do have a Mercury retrograde going on currently. We have a Tower, 10 of Swords, and we have an 8 of Coins or an 8 of Pentacles coming out with the sexual magic. So let's go ahead and just start going into this. So we have a 3 of Cups starting. 3 of Cups with 2 of Cups. I love the perfect balance here with the 2 of Cups. There just seems to be an energy of give and take, of nice reciprocity here. Single or in a relationship or otherwise, there's a nice working with people kind of energy, right? Just diplomatic and kind and open to hearing what other people have to say, but also not being afraid to express your own concerns and finding the balance there. And it's a very easy way to really enter into this Venus in Taurus transit, or as we enter into March. The 3 of Cups is, there's a connectivity, there's a social component here, there's a lot of abundance that comes through with the 3 of Cups. So you may be entering March with just like really good feelings about love and good feelings about where you're at in life. If you're lacking in that in any way, shape, or form, maybe bust out a piece of paper and start writing down 10 things that you're grateful for, even if it's like weird things like, I'm so grateful for, the people who invented spaghetti, or I'm so grateful for the people that do whatever, and just even if it's weird stuff like that, just write it down. Really look around and find that sense of appreciation for where you are and how far you've come. And the 2 of Cups, if you're in a relationship, there will likely be really good communication. If you have had any kind of issues during the Mercury retrograde, it's likely that you'll come to some kind of a conclusion or resolution or find some kind of closure with that issue. If you're totally single, I say go out, be seen, have fun, get online, whatever you want to do, because this Wheel of Fortune is spinning smack dab in the middle, and immediately following is the Ace of Cups, which we know is often the entry or a new potential in love, and the Cups definitely represents that emotional component. So a new emotional connection, which may have been lacking, may be lacking, or may have been lacking. So we have this King of Wands here. For those of you who are looking for someone new, boom, here's a potential. It might not be the forever and always kind of thing, but if nothing else, it could be, a couple of dates, or, if it's someone that you already know who's been kind of in and out of your life and they're trying to reach out again. I see a real positive vibe coming from them. I don't necessarily get that this is someone who's going to try to come back to use you. I don't see that they're coming back specifically for you to boost their ego because they're feeling, I don't see anything like that. I think there's a genuine heartedness with this Ace of Cups coming out. And if it is someone trying to come back and you're like kind of on the fence about it, just, maybe do a cup of coffee and at least just kind of feel it out. But if it's someone brand new, who knows? It really could be someone that you could share something real special with. This is a card of Leo, could also be a Sagittarius or an Aries, or someone that just has a real fiery, passionate nature about them. If you're a female attracted to men, this is going to be a very masculine man, okay? And if it's another sexual orientation, it probably will be someone with a more masculine energy, even if it is a female, someone that has a very outward way in the way that they live. They love to connect with people. They love to chat. They love to talk. They love to both do the small talk and the deep talk. They can operate on all levels. And this is someone that really has a lot of goals and ambitions for themselves. On the other hand, this also could be a mirror image of yourself as well, because perhaps you're tapping into a more fiery part of yourself as well. You're tapping into the passion that you have for life. You're tapping into the zest and the excitement for life. And that could be mirrored back to you in a really positive way with a new connection. So that's really, really fantastic. So let's go ahead and get into the oracles. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Yeah, your vibration is definitely rising. We kind of have a very rainbow quality. We've got a rainbow here and a rainbow here, which whenever we have the rainbow, you know, it's always the chakra system and energy is flowing smoothly. There's always, you know, an ascension aspect going on. And when you raise your vibrations in such a way, it absolutely invites people on similar higher planes. So this is really a journey of lightness, right? A very low density. It's very etheric, very angelic, similar to pile 1. It has a free-flowing nature to it, which then invites other more positive connections as well. So you are the oracle. Your vibration is rising. The journey. What I love about this pile of cards is that there's not a lot of expectation here. And you seem to be going into whatever your situation is totally open-minded, completely ready to just, like, life, what can you give me that's cool? Life, universe, like, just give me something. I'll work with it. It'll be fun. I'm excited for what you have for me. And you're kind of in love with this journey part of it. It has nothing to do with the destination, you know, with love. It has nothing to do with getting married and walking down the aisle, right? It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with opening your heart and, you know, sharing cool things and the feelings and the emotion and just kind of the step-by-step, day-to-day kind of part of this. There doesn't seem to be a lot of expectation, which really frees you up. Seeing a very liberated quality coming from you guys, because probably in the past, end of a tough cycle approaches. So in the past, you have had, like, you know, your fair share of heartbreak. And I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but we do have the 10 of Swords here, which, you know, she's crying and there's a couple in the background there. So you probably have had some kind of a betrayal, some kind of a, you know, a substantial heartbreak, or you with your current partner just went through something really, really tough. And now you are on the healing part of that, but more so toward the, like, I'm more fully healed part of it. This stuff is probably still very close to you because it is your shadow. It's your shadow side. And you have, like, an intimate knowledge of what that is and who you are on the other side. So you hold this shadow part close to you, but not in a clingy, bitter, negative Nancy kind of way, but in a way that says, I am going to reinvent myself. I'm going to use the power of my shadow to propel my light, because now I know how dark it can really get, and now I know how bright it can really get as well. I love Mercury retrograde time, in spite of all the terrible technology things that had happened to me this time, because, oh my gosh, the Mercury retrograde kicked my butt. But still, it's always an excellent time for reinvention, for re-evaluation, for, you know, picking up loose ends and, you know, carrying things out and finishing things and finding closure. And it's always such a, it's just like, it's a magical time for that. So that's where you are, and that's why this King of Wands is so present in your story, is because, you know, it's a indication. It's an indication of how far you've come from this very tough cycle. And let's look at these sexual magic cards here. We have the Tower, which I think is connected with the 10 of Swords as well, because it is, you know, it seems to be a little bit like very, very passionate. Maybe there was a cheating or a betrayal thing that happened, or someone just like really went cold on you, and it just was really, really heartbreaking. But that is your journey, guys. Both these cards coming out, touching that journey card. It is the journey. And it is because of this that your vibration can rise, because you do have that new sense of consciousness. And it's the reason why this King of Wands can enter. Okay, so it's all connected. And I think you understand that in an intimate way. Maybe you'd be like, yeah, maybe it didn't have to be so hard, you know, but still, like, you did it, and you're here, and you're succeeding, and you're making wonderful things happen. Now, what I love about this 8 of Coins is, to me, it feels like these two kind of already just had sex and like they're both very satisfied. It's kind of like that end of sex high that you get, and you're both in that state of just both in your own world and both experiencing what you're experiencing and feeling what you're feeling, but you're still very connected at the same time. And, you know, there's still a very romantic gesture here with the rose. So I think you're at a time for you're at a time in your life for a much more satisfying experience and a much more compassionate and considerate experience. You're at a time to, you know, really enjoy the benefits of the tough cycle. So things are really opening up for you, and there's a lot of reasons to be really optimistic about your love life this month, especially in terms of just simply the standards that you set, the energetic precedents that you set. So enjoy the ride. It's going to be a good time. All right. Thank you guys so much for everything. I wish you absolutely nothing but the best. Have an excellent March, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.